Yo. Hey.
What it do?
Ladies and gentlemen, you know who it is. It's your boy J.Kendall.
It's your boy Eli.
We back again. E and
Back
J Uncut.
again and again and again. For the win. With some more shit for you.
Yep, here. Cloud Ride Studios. Back in effect one more time. How you guys doing? Thanks for being with us. And we here
for the little thumbs up to pop up because it be popping up on the screen sometimes. We
here. It's nice and bright. So, what's new, man? What happened with you? Any good news?
Man, I just
How was your trip? Didn't you just take a little flight?
Yeah, I just got to visit my pops for his 70th birthday.
70 years young.
70 years.
That's what's up.
That shit was cool. Washington, up in Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma,
yeah,
like the Toyota truck, huh?
Yeah, it's like right under the Canadian border.
It's nice up there, huh? It's real
Man,
nice.
it was beautiful. It like sprinkled a couple times and the sun came out, and it sprinkled again and the sun came out, but it wasn't no like, it doesn't just rain up there like they talking about. It's not like, it be some good weather up there.
Yeah, I've been up to Seattle a few times. I don't know if I've been in Tacoma like that though.
Seattle's not far from Tacoma, I don't think. It's like
okay, maybe we went through or something. I don't know, but yeah. That's what's up.
Well, it's cool, man. I got to see Mount Rainier on an airplane, and if anybody you don't know, that the real name of that is Tahoma. Is the name of that? That's the Native American name for Mount Rainier. Is Tahoma.
Tacoma, Tahoma.
Yeah.
Look at that. You see the similarities? Just a little.
Right.
You know. So that's cool. So how was your pops?
We got to watch some whales.
Oh, your pops went to the whales?
Yeah, he be tracking them, man.
What kind of whales?
He retired, so he don't have much to do, you know. He be up there. All he do is like sail and track whales. And
what kind of whales?
The orcas. The orca whales.
Orcas. So you saw Willie up in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Free.
He was free?
Willie.
Did he have that little bent old fin?
Nah. All their fins was straight.
Oh, okay. So they had been out there. Yeah. They was all natural. They wasn't even.
Hey, it's kind of deep, man. They was talking about there's like different pods, different groups. They call pods, and they all they like come down. There's these people that track them, and you follow their little Facebook page or whatever. So they tracking the whales, and they're like, hey, they're coming down here, and there's always a boat chasing them wherever they go because everybody's always tracking the whales.
Man.
So he got a little notification, so we went down to the dock and we seen them. It's like 5 of them hopping through the water. That's cool.
That's cool, man. You seen that the other week where that trainer, that orca, straight ate him.
Oh yeah,
because he was like at SeaWorld, one of them parks, but the little orca trainer was out there, and he was, he had been there I don't know how many times, like he had done it. Him and the orca, like they had their whole routine and everything. Like he come up in the water and everything. So he did that one day, and the orca wasn't having it, and just
yeah, because they smart and they ain't with that bullshit captivity.
Man,
there's never been a reported attack on a human from the orcas in a while. They eat dolphin like it's crazy up there.
In the
like
wild,
they got one pod that just eats salmon, and that's all they eat.
Okay.
And then they got another pod that eats seals, otters, and dolphins. They eat the dolphins.
Yeah, because we was talking about the seals for the whales exactly. So, but that's interesting though that you say that though that they don't do it in the wild, but they do it when they be in captivity, so they know. My boy was telling me that back in the day that dolphins is smart like that too, and that a dolphin said that like he was like one of the ones that played on Flipper, I think it was like one of the ones that played Flipper or something, that he was going, you know how they train them and they go back and forth.
Hey, dolphins be trying to rape people, man.
I don't know if it was all that.
They be trying to fuck. But dolphins is little horny motherfuckers.
But he said that in this article or whatever that the research has showed that this dolphin went up to the trainer, and he come up every day, he getting fed and whatnot, so he come up to the trainer and he
raped his ass?
He looked at the trainer and then was like, looked at him like dead in the eye. You know what I mean?
He said, "Fuck you."
When then swam down to the bottom of the thing and didn't come up and died. So basically, like he killed himself. Like the dolphin looked at him.
Suicidal.
Yeah, dolphin. Like looking at him though, but like come up, look at you in the eye, and be like,
"Was it a dude dolphin or a girl dolphin?"
So supposedly a male dolphin.
Huh?
Don't start. Yeah, don't start. Don't start. I already know you got a theory.
Huh?
Cause you just said it twice, so I think it.
But
nope, you ain't getting me there. All right, what we got today? Come on. Let's get it started. Let's get it started with the topics.
Well,
bro.
First of all, man, I've been taking these fertility pills. You feel me?
For what?
I've been eating a lot of walnuts.
Walnut gets you fertile?
Yeah, they make you more fertile.
I ain't never heard that about the walnuts. Oh, I heard about the ashwagandhas. Yeah. I'll be up on my ashwagandhas. Shout out to the ashwagandhas. Shout out to the sea moss gel. Shout out to the Shilajit. You be off that Shilajit? Man, you need to get off that Shilajit, bruh. Get that in your life. Shilajit.
Shilajit to not quit, huh?
Exactly. As you know, for the male potencies. But anyway, why are you taking fertility stuff? You got 6 kids. You don't need to be no more fertile. You have proven that you are fertile. You don't gotta prove no more, bro.
Bro, this ain't a thing. Trump talking about he gonna give $5,000 for every baby you have.
Well, you trying to get your 30,000? Tell me, you already?
Yeah, I'm trying to have quintuplets, and then I'm gonna invest that. You feel me?
It costs more than that to have a baby. I mean,
it's over free there to have a baby,
but the doctor fees and all that.
And we got Medicare.
Well, whatever. More power to you. You go ahead. I'm gonna stick to not. But 5,000.
I'm gonna adopt them out to lesbians that can't have babies. You feel me? And they can have the babies.
You gonna adopt them out
after I get my bread.
So you just gonna be? Why don't you just be a sperm donor?
How much they charge?
I don't know. You gotta go do your thing up into one of them little cups though. That's what they. I mean, that's what they always show in the TV and the movies.
Can I bring my wife?
You know, that's a question for you to ask them. I don't know the answers to that.
Okay.
But I mean, hey, I don't know. But that's an interesting 5,000. Why is he trying to get? Which it seems counterintuitive because with everything, with the advancements in technology and the people losing jobs and whatnot, him incentivizing population growth basically by incentivizing birth or pregnancies or giving incentives to have a baby. Seems kind of counterintuitive.
I was thinking that too, but then, like I seen what's his name, Elon Musk, right? Mm-hmm. He was talking about like our birth rates are down in the U.S. or some shit. I think he just talking about white people though. But
hear me out on this though. So it kind of make you feel kind of weird about it because then it's like if you talking about we need less people on one hand.
No, they talking about they need more, but I think it's like I know, slavery
but
shit.
That's what I'm saying. So you need more people. So what you need the people for? Are we like really in the Matrix type where?
Especially if you all about the like robots
with a battery.
Right?
You know, are we gonna be battery electricity charged for the robots?
Human as energy.
I don't know. I mean, that's what they did in the Matrix.
Isn't that what the Matrix did?
That's what they
used that as the energy factory.
Because on one hand, I mean, you can look it up how a lot of people, politicians and everybody out there, they talking about like, hey, we need to have less people this, less people that. All these other countries, if they got less people, they doing better because they got less people, and so you got less overhead. All this, and then here come our guy.
China got hella people. They be doing good.
No, but they limit how many kids you can have. They control that. You can't just be going out there all willy nilly.
Daughters be floating down the rivers and shit.
Well, I don't know about. You might be right about that, but I know that
they used to send that you find hella little baby daughters. In
they didn't. Exactly.
They want to have their son. They can only have this amount of babies, and they need a son. So
they need a son, so they didn't really want the females. Right. That was definitely true. I heard about that. So with that said, there's definitely a cap on that. You feel me? They just let people do that because there's a lot of people already, so they already know. Same thing. It's like it just seems kind of odd that he would be offered an incentive when that's the state of affairs.
Hey, my shit was talk to text while we were talking, and I didn't know, and it was shit.
Nice. So you got a nice long conversation on there right now.
Yeah. I was trying to look at what we gonna talk about. That brings that up to the question.
What is the question?
A lot of people been saying this, including that. What's his name?
Who?
Dude from who be narrating the planet shit. I forget his name.
David Attenborough?
Nah, he talking about we living in a
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. He be talking about we in a simulation. Do you think that we are?
That's the crazy part.
In a simulation, which would mean basically like we're like almost like a computer program or something, but probably something way more intelligent or sophisticated. I would say. That's
an interesting. That's an interesting question. Now, ultimately, no, I don't believe we in a simulation.
You don't think we in a simulation?
I don't think we in a simulation. Now, I done seen some articles where people was talking about like having, like taking DMT and things, and people looking at like red lights and things, and all these different people saw the same things, and when they looked in it, they saw code kind of looking like the Matrix code, and it was like some kind of source code. They were saying that like, excuse me, like what we talked about originally with the CRISPR and things, like the DNA is basically code. And that's how they're able to alter it, because they found the code in it, and so they treating it like computer code, and so they're able to edit and alter, and that's why they can do the genes and whatnot. And they saying, you know, similar things that would, you know,
right.
So I don't know. What do you think? So that's why they think. Excuse me, just to finish that thought. That's why they think it's a simulation, because they can see the code.
Because they can see code. Like, okay.
So do you think, because I don't know, like, I mean, that's just what has been said, right, so right. I don't know if that's exactly true.
Like when I look at like how the whole world is, right, and like we built up of atoms, right? That's what they say. Everything is made of atoms. Mm-hmm. Like it goes bigger, it goes to molecules, which are in different structures and shit. But the base of everything, are tiny as little atoms, right?
Okay.
And now, it would make sense if those atoms, which is like just a single particle, ain't every atom a single particle? Okay. And ain't all atoms the same?
I don't know they're about just all atoms being the same.
The atoms are like, because it's like molecules are all different, but the atoms are all every atom is just one little tiny particle, right?
Okay.
So if everything's made up of the same particles, just in different condensations and to form different things, that's a lot like pixels. You feel me?
I got you.
And so I wouldn't. All I'm gonna say is I won't rule it out. Like I don't know if I believe that or not, but it's not. I'm an open-minded type of individual, so I'm not gonna rule out anything. And also, it could be proven. Like I mean, if you take anything from like the Bible or whatnot, when he said that God made man in his image, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's an image, right?
So you're trying to say that could be like a computer generated or pixelated?
And we are creators like God, right? Like he made us in his image, which that's why we are creators, and that's why we had this. So the things we create, like with the computer and all that, like where we're getting to, the technology and everything, we're getting like eventually to the point where we will recreate a simulation that's could be what we are. You feel me?
So you're trying to say like having similar like powers to recreate life in that manner,
right?
Because if being created by the creator, meaning we got creator powers in us, which means and that's why we advancing in the technology and to be able to
we are
image,
like,
and therefore
if you look at what we're doing, we are creating things in our image. Like all the if you look at the new trailer for the Grand Theft Auto 6 just came out.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta get up on that.
I'm on that. Yeah. But I was watching the trailer and I was like, damn, this shit look like real, like photorealistic damn near. And we are creating some things. And if you mix that with AI and put the AI, the artificial intelligence, into those beings that you done created in this, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what we was talking about last time.
We might be in an everlasting loop of, you know how this like time goes both ways, infinite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And size goes both ways. You keep going down and down. You see the smaller things, and then you go up. It's like universe after universe expanding. It might be that too. The creation goes both ways, infinite. Like the God that created us might have had gods creating them, and then you know what I mean. And that's
some other questions that we gotta ask God. But you know, man, we don't got the answer. But I do feel
but God might have to go ask God for that to see. You know what I mean? And it's infinite. You don't know. Like we was created, we creating.
There's only one.
What happens when what we create starts creating?
So like when you have kids and they have kids.
That's another cycle that's eternal in both directions. You feel me? As far as we know, I mean?
Yeah, right. You know, that's the same thing. It's like if you go all the way back to Adam, whatever,
and you just look at it, it's like everything is this. But it's crazy because you don't see no beginning and no end to the creation.
Because there is no. It's always like you said. I mean, God being the beginning and the end. Can you imagine that already? Like, we going through it, but you already infinite, so you already know what's going to happen. And we going through it, and even as it's real time, but you already know what's going to happen in the end, and you already there.
But you know what I mean? There was levels to where, like, the ones that created us were created by something else, and that was created by something else. And
I mean, this
up and up and up and
the
up.
whole thing, like, you know, to say, I mean, two things, again, could be equally true. So say God being God, right? One, okay, this whole everything that we experiencing in our life and everything could just be that. You know what I mean? It's like you're saying. And then that could be an experience that's already been lived out. Like, as much as we think of infinite time, right?
Right.
Could have already happened infinite times already. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what if what if we're in a billion simulation of the a billion simulation
of the billion simulation? That's just crazy.
You know what I mean? Or like, but and it's still the same thing, and it's still, you know, God being God and us being us, and things being as they be. But it's just that maybe it's happened, or it's all
so many different levels.
So many different levels. I mean,
and that's where we're at right now, where we.
Those are things to be answered. Like, I don't know for sure, but those are possibilities. I feel you as far as realms of possibility. Like, I'm not ruling that out. I'm not saying that's 100% true.
So I'm wondering when it's gonna get to the point where, because you know, so you was telling me about this earlier, that they, I think we might have talked about it on a different episode where they created a spine, right? Then
we talked about that last time.
Yeah. So if they're getting to that point now that we're creating to that level, right? That means that whatever we're gonna create, we'll eventually be able to create. Mm-hmm. And then, so are we at the forefront of creation? Because it ain't done it yet.
I mean, we are just. I guess that we're at the forefront of of what we can do for our technology.
Well, maybe from humans, like we don't know how many different planets they done seeded with humans or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Exactly. We don't know, but see, then that brings you to some crazy things, because some people who don't believe in none of that, like space and everything, they believe in what? Flat Earth.
Right.
And they out here thinking that, like, hey, you can't get, like, all that's fake, and like even, you know, and they still believe in the Bible and things too, and they talking about because God talked in the Bible where they talk about like the firmament,
the universe.
Well, like the firmament. So they think that there's like a glass shield above so far, and you can't penetrate the firmament. So they think that like the rockets never went to space.
They got pictures. Oh, they're fake, huh? Why they faking it though?
They saying it's fake, but then think about this too, though. So I haven't looked it up, which would be interesting. Hey, people in the chat, people watching this, look it up to double check. But they tried to say that, like, when we went to the moon, that now people say the moon landing was fake. Okay, cool. Well, if you look at right now, our technology is about how far we can get a rocket. You know how far they say they can actually get a rocket into space. It wouldn't reach the moon. So they trying to say, now you're trying to say with the technology that we have years later, that back, years ago we had the technology to get to the moon and we had the technology to get that far, but now we don't have the technology to get that far, so we regressed. That honestly don't seem possible. So it's just interesting. Like, you gotta do your own research. I don't know that for a fact. I just was like hearing some whispers about that, and I was like, if that's true, then I'm not agreeing with the flat earthers either. I'm just saying that that's interesting though. That's an interesting theory to be like, how come we only supposedly can go so far, but which can't get to the moon? But back in the 60s, 50s, whatever, we got to the moon. How did we do that? But we had the technology then, but now we don't?
Someone else just went to the moon recently. I don't know if it was Russia or China.
But then how did those people get in space?
And get stuck?
And get stuck for how many months, and they had enough to stay there? That's just still just don't make that sense to me.
I think we could get to the moon, but as far as landing, I'm not sure if that was fake or not. It looked kind of fake to me.
A lot of people say...
Who was videotaping it from the moon?
They said they had the video camera set up, whatever. And
who set it up?
I don't know. That's for them. A lot of people say too, the way, if you look at the footage and the way they were floating, that they were underwater and it wasn't like they were in space, because the way they were moving and the motion and things, it was like, huh. And I saw the video that they played, and it was like, it do look kind of convincing that. That actually looked more like he was underwater.
Well, but in space, you're going to have a more buoyancy, so like as if you were underwater. But they also didn't have the technology to edit it like that. But again, I almost feel like it might have been maybe more slow motion than in water.
But think about you at a Hollywood studio and you just do some and then you underwater, you just make it look like that. But then again, my other thing is, how come you be out there and you be in space all the time, but we don't see no stars? All that we look up in the sky is all. How come it's just not infinite, just stars? You just fall in and you just see stars and brightness and everything. And I understand sunlight and reflection and all that, but it's just like you don't never see nothing. And the only reason we see it is because of the sun reflection. That's crazy.
We don't see stars because of the sun reflection, because the stars is actually suns themselves, so they got their own light.
Okay, well then we only can see it at night when it go down. That's it.
Yeah, because the sun is so bright, so you can't. They out there.
So then,
because the sun is hitting the atmosphere.
Well, right? wait, but this is my thing then. So you just said because of the absence of light, so that's why we can see it. So then I would think that if you float in space, the moon thing, exactly.
You can't see stars up on it.
That's what I didn't.
Who said that?
When pictures do you see that they showing the whole stars?
I never look for the stars.
It's always dark. It's just always dark, and then you see the Earth. That's what I'm like. Well, how could where all the stars if we ain't looking? And when you on the dark side of it, it should be lit up stars the other way, because you just said ain't no light to reflect, and they all little bright little things up in there. So then how come it ain't infinite as far as you can see?
It can't just be. Yeah, it's gonna be vivid stars.
That would be my point. I'm just saying. So if you can explain that to me, and it might be a perfectly logical explanation, but those are the points that people bring out, and you're like, huh, it's kind of interesting because because when I look up at night and I'm down here and I go to a place where there's no light, I look up and all I see is a gang of stars as far as I can see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Back to the flat Earth though. The thing about that doesn't work is because if you walk, say you was to go straight one direction. Mm-hmm. You will eventually end up back in the same spot.
Okay. So then that proves that it's not flat, because if you keep walking in one direction, you just keep
or they fly, you'd have to fly, because that's gonna be a long ass walk. Another thing.
Okay. I'm with it.
The way the sun rises and sets, if it was flat, we'd all see that shit. You feel me? At the same time. Motherfucking China would say, hey, it's 8 a.m. because the sun's coming up. And we'd be like, yep, right there. There it is, the same spot. But no, it's still dark with that. All the way until, boom, then it gets light for us.
But it's just, that could be, I guess, what do you call it? Your proximity to the
sun?
To where it's coming up.
Even if your proximity, you still, like, everyone has the same... 16, 14, 15 hour days, right?
24-hour day, but
No, I'm talking about like a light.
With sunlight, potentially 12 hours if you can get it. 14.
And that coincides with it going around us or whatever, twisting around the earth. You feel me? Or us going, it's us going around, or us twisting, spinning. You know what I mean? That's what makes it days. But it coincides with where we're at on a globe, how they see the sun come up and down. Feel me?
I mean, that's the science behind it. That's what they say. Yeah. So I'm not with we just presenting evidence or proposing arguments. I know
you ain't no damn flat earther.
But I'm just saying that's what they bring up for it, and you like, oh, okay, but like you said, then that doesn't equate all the time,
right?
But they try to use those things, and like the firmament, especially like.
And why would every other planet be round that we see with telescopes and shit, but we just a flat one?
And also, how come we one of the only ones that like got atmosphere like in the moon? How come you don't just be able to like go into it like you do us, where you stand on top of it and you got, you're on the outside of it, you can just fall off. You don't like just fall off the earth like that. You go into the atmosphere and then you on the land. You know what I mean?
Right.
But on that,
our atmosphere is caused by, it's called a magnetosphere, which comes from the core
of Earth. Yeah.
Right, and us spinning, and there's a lava in between the core.
Yeah, we all know the basic science.
I don't know how much they actually know about how that is, because we ain't got through the lava thing. Like, ain't no human been down there and been like, oh, we sent a probe through the lava.
Exactly.
So what we need to do is come up with a damn probe that can withstand lava, and drill our asses down there and see what that's made of. And
also that, and get to and explore the ocean.
They gonna find some diamonds or something. They gonna mine that shit, and then our magnetosphere gonna disappear, and we gonna end up like Venus, because that's what they say. Venus used to have a magnetosphere, and that shit, the magnetosphere died, and that's what caused the atmosphere to leave, which caused everything to go to hell. Feel me?
I mean, who's to say, like, yeah, I mean, there could have been multiple Earths. Like, what if they...
I'm sure there has been.
Like, what if, like, you know what I mean? What if some of the other planets, like, what if all the other planets was just, like, you talk about infinite times, like, what different places were that was Earth at one time, and they just got all messed up in some kind of way, and, like, each one of them was, like, different times. I don't know. You can have all kind of theories, but that's just interesting. But, the flat earthers and thinking about the...
Hey, if you're a flat earther, I want to hear your arguments.
And do you believe in the firmament? Do you think that they actually pierced it and we actually went through the firmament?
Or the softament? The firmament or the softament?
Oh, the softament.
I believed in the softament.
Some of my finger. Yeah, but yeah, do you believe in the firmament, or do you think we actually landed on the moon? We went to the moon. Do we actually go into space, or is there no space? Did they actually land on the moon, or was it faked and they were in the water? You know, do you believe any of that? What is your opinion on it? Because there's many varying opinions, and people try to prove it, and they try to prove it by, sun positioning and whatnot. Also, people...
A lot of times they just prove themselves false with that shit.
Well, also, besides
we talked about the ice wall before.
We did, but besides the flat earthers, I know I showed you the article where they were talking about too that like our map's wrong, and like the east is the west and the west is the east and the north is the south, and we kind of got everything kind of flipped backwards.
I seen that. The only thing that was having me kind of tripping is because they say you walk this way and you're gonna go around like that, right?
And you end back on the same spot, but they wasn't proving flat earth on that.
You'd have to be walking around instead of walking straight. You feel me?
Well, in the direction, but if you still be walking one direction, and then if it end up taking you around, then you're still walking that direction.
Well, that wouldn't be one direction then. That would be. Well, I mean, if it was flat, that wouldn't be one direction because you walk that way.
But they wasn't saying it was flat. They was just talking. They was just talking. They was just saying that the map was wrong. Like we've been told, like your directions is wrong, especially when they talk about north. Right. Like you was just saying, the center of the earth is a magnet. So everything when you go north, it points to the center. So then that would be north. That's you know what I mean? So then it's like, why would it actually be one whole direction? It's actually going to be kind of like one central point in there, which makes a lot of sense compared to like, the way that our conventional navigational system would be. But
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's true. It makes sense. It could be, but that doesn't mean that's the actual logic of the law.
Right.
Like it could be
and
more
that could have the way that had it though is almost like it is actually round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's definitely round. Yeah. It was just that again, you focus in the center here instead of having.
Well, the compass does always point to the north.
Exactly,
and that has to do with the magnetism.
Exactly. Right. So that's what you were saying. Like, so if that's north, then everywhere you go
does it
from
point to the north in just the northern hemisphere, or does it do that when you're in the south? Does it point to the southern hemisphere?
I'm not good at navigation. But
or now is it positive and negative charge? Like is the top positive, bottom negative of the the magnetosphere, and so we think that's pointing to the north, but actually the bottom is actually pointing to the south.
I don't know, but think about flipping. What if everything was flipped? Like what if that's true and the way we learned our directions and our seasons and all this stuff is actually opposite?
Right, but it is whatever we make it, because even if it's opposite, that's because we made it opposite.
But I mean, but I'm just saying, like some of the destinations, like some people even say, like on the maps that like say Africa first, say it was flipped. Yeah. Like it the way it's shown on the map, because a lot of maps was drawn for Europeans.
Well, Africa was also. They always make it smaller than it actually is.
Exactly, it's bigger than it is. That's part of my point. It was like because most of them was European, so they put Britain and all that in the middle when that's not the center. You know what I mean? So like the way where you think of stuff, like actually centered on the globe, even maybe it looks different. You see what I mean? But we don't see that. Because of the way
Antarctica,
the maps that we have, and sometimes they saying Antarctica on the old maps was actually around like the whole shit, like or the whole.
What you think of Pangea, man, and the plates moving under the shit?
I don't know. I think in Tartaria and all that stuff and all the.
You know how they found dinosaur bones on one side of the coast and on the other, like, and it kind of go and match how they would have been pushed together.
Yeah, they found some in. I saw they saw some in New York.
And plate tectonics. That's it crazy. Now they saying that check this out, Google this shit, that Africa is actually splitting, and they're going to be two continents because it might be an ocean that form in there, in between there, like this is happening right now.
Interesting. I mean, we like one big earthquake away, which would be interesting just because.
Or just like Cali falling if the San Andreas fault broke.
Which would be interesting just because throughout the history, there has been times where like catastrophic events have happened which reshape the world and how we, and how things happen, which we haven't been a part of because, the time that we live in, but there has been, at some different times, that's what's happened. You know what I mean? Like, hey, boom.
That's what killed the dragon.
Yeah, this split off, and then this is what happened, and that's interesting. I mean, like, what if that was in the lifetime? Like, like 3 days happened, it could change everything. You know what I mean? You be sitting there, oh, boom, earthquake, this split off,
or a big ass asteroid hit. What if that asteroid caused the earthquake?
I mean, something happened like that, or
because they saying that the dinosaurs, right,
or the asteroid hit, or something like that hit, and then the like our information grid or something go out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, no more internet. What would happen?
And then everyone relied on that shit and we done burned all the books.
Just saying, like, but then, well, I mean, it could be cool too, but if you don't have the information and you can start to rewrite the history then again. Think about that. So then, like, if you were at that point and that did happen, then history would be relied on. People after that would just need to know what you told them. So they couldn't.
You remember when the Mayan calendar?
That's how it is.
The Mayan calendar was saying that that everything was going to end on the 12th, 2012.
2012, yeah, I remember
Everybody like, man, a lot of people sold all their shit.
Yep.
Hey, they went and sold all their shit. Like, hey, we got that. They still floating on that thing. Like,
people said that, everybody thought 2002. Like,
or 1999.
Yeah, they thought when it hit 2000 that it was going to be it and the world was going to end.
Thing. I think a computer did crash for like a minute or something.
But they was kind of predicting what I was talking about with the computer crash in the Y2K. Like, if all that happened and everything went down, what would we do?
But one thing that the Mayans did, they said was that there was 4 endings that already happened. Which this is kind of crazy because it coincides with like what the Anunnaki talking about, right?
Huh.
that like there's a great reset that happens every so often.
Okay.
And they said it was always caused by different things. One time they said it was caused by like fire. One time it was caused by like water and ice, which was kind of the Ice Age, the motherfucking Great Flood. You feel me?
Yep.
And then the fire, that could have been a damn asteroid thing. You feel me?
Yep.
And then they said the next one's gonna be caused by a plant, which doesn't make sense. Unless we all gonna get so high that we can't function in this. You know, I don't think we can get that high. Might be a new plant that comes.
I don't know. Interesting, man. That's
Joe Hammond strains might do that.
Get people just so lit they just it's a wrap, huh?
Man,
that was crazy. All right, man, that was a straight rabbit hole right there.
Yeah, all the way down.
What you got? What we got next?
Shit, what else we got?
Man, they be talking, man. Those are some subjects though. That's real though. That's what's happening nowadays. That's what's crazy. Like,
man. That's one thing I'll be wondering is how the hell, like, okay, so it's kind of a different subject.
What?
How the hell they stack them bricks in Stonehenge? And I got my theory. I want to see what you think. That's an old ass monument with some big ass rocks.
Oh, Stonehenge, yeah. Yeah. Aliens.
Okay, yeah. That's what I was thinking too. All right, next thing.
I'm just saying, like, how else you gonna explain that? I don't know how. Honestly, not unless it was aliens or ancient people with some technologies that we don't know about. Right. That, like, again, that they had, because like when one
giants.
of my giants too, because giants did exist, so giants could have done it. Mm-hmm. So that's just some history, but that's what I'm talking about that I don't know about. Like, right. It's not been told to me that the giants did it. I know the giants did exist. So therefore, they could have done that, and all the Nephilim and all those things that's out there. Because I'm talking about,
they could have used dragons to lift shit too.
Exactly, but people think about when we talk about giants, like, you talking about like Goliath or somebody that's like 9 feet tall. Like, I'm talking about somebody that's like mountain tall, like you know, like 3 miles tall, like somebody that's big. They had a picture.
Big. It was this is an ancient sculpture where it's a giant and it's holding a lion like a kitten. You seen that before?
Nope, I haven't, but it makes sense. Like, think about that. They had to be there had to be a time when that was, because lions rolling around like that, they had to be scared of something, or you know what I mean? Like, so at some point, something had to be taming them. I would have thought, like, all the animals of the jungle and things of that nature. But
here it is, right?
Like, Jack and the Beanstalk was probably off a true story. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Can you see that? Probably not.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Yep. See that.
So those some ancient statues. He holding a lion like it's a pet house cat.
That's crazy. So,
like, who would come up with that if there wasn't, like, some reason behind it? Like, they just think people have big imaginations. Like, I'm going to carve this. A giant human holding a...
But think about that too. Like, if you look at some of those statues, this is where we talk about Tartaria and some of these old ancient civilizations and whatnot. Because, like, you got buildings that's even like in Washington and whatnot. I was just looking at something and they showed this big one of the buildings. I forgot what town it was in, but it was one of the big buildings out there, right? And it was an old like a courthouse or something, but it got pillars on it. Like, I'm talking about 10 foot, 20 foot tall pillars of straight marble.
Yeah.
Carved with they didn't have that technology. You trying to tell me back?
That's heavy rock.
That's what I'm saying. So you mean trying to tell me back when, and he was like, you mean the land out here where we famous for fur trapping and all this? Like, when did they have stonemasons out here? When did they have stonemasons that were of this quality to build this?
Yeah.
Like, way back when they was building log cabins and fur trapping, but then they had stonemasons out here building, these immaculate towers and these gaudy structures and stuff. It's just like, sometimes it's just, I don't know who built them per se, but it seems like some stuff ain't adding up. Like, maybe Just because they were ancient civilizations doesn't mean that they didn't have technology. You see what I mean?
Just like they say Atlantis had the technology. They had lasers and shit.
Yeah, which is possible, but they don't want
lasers. We ain't got lasers that can cut and form things at the precision that they talking about the Atlanteans.
Oh, but then hear me out on that. Then that's where you talk about some of the technology potentially that happened earlier might have been more advanced than what we got now.
Yeah.
Like maybe
they might just now be catching up, so that coincides with the mindset to where they say we're almost at our end of our cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you get to a certain technological level, and they're like, cut it, boom, let's try again.
Maybe you got to get to a certain technological level to advance. Like once you get there, some of those civilizations we think got wiped out.
Like maybe they just bounced.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they finally ascended. They was like, all right, we figured out how to get up out of here.
You can come to the utopia.
Or their interaction with
Or check it out. Maybe it's a big ass video game, and that's when you win the level.
Or maybe they figured out how to actually fuse.
And then you go up and play it, and now you can play again.
Maybe they fused the body, mind, and soul finally, and they understand how to actually, align everything. And once you get the technology to know that, maybe you get so advanced, you realize that the technology really don't matter, and you got to stay balanced, but body, mind, and soul, and be healthy, and get that all correct. And once you do that, then you don't really need none of that. You don't really need none of this, and then you ascend
reality.
You know what I mean? Then you be like, boom, I'm up out of here. I'm gone. I'm being one with the Creator. I'm out of here. We don't really even need all this material stuff. We out.
Nah, that could be.
That's who's to say? We'll find out. One day we all gonna be up out of here. So it's like, that's the crazy thing, and that's what is the whole thing about like this life is that all these theories that everybody have, somebody right. And like the only people who know for sure is the people who already passed on. You know what I mean? Like say they over there looking like, hey, he right. Like
what if there's multiple right answers too? That could be crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, if all y'all, or what if there's multiple right answers, but we all wrong because we've been led astray the whole time, and like some of these theories is actually true. And we just all backwards, you know what I mean? And it was like, hey, if you honestly, the path is right here. It's that straight and it's that simple. And that's all you really got to do. But we all here. They got us all here because the path is really just like that. It's straight. And if you knew that, you wouldn't care about all this. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But we don't know that. So we just like, well, we don't know. And they were like, bruh, if you would have just did this the whole time, you would have been fine.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you really had to do.
And that's all a lot of different religions try to tell you. But, yeah, it's crazy.
Hey.
If one of them right, that means like a 200 wrong.
Well, the one that's right. Y'all know. You know.
Assalamu alaikum.
Huh? You know. What's next?
Wait, tell me which one's right. I don't know. Shit. Hold on. You just gonna say you know. Who know? I don't know. I don't know shit. Which was right?
You want me to tell you what's right for you?
No, the right one that you talking about. Oh, you saying everyone got their own right one?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. You know.
What's
right
know.
For you.
I know. I know what I know.
You know you shouldn't have done what you just did the other day.
Nah, boy, I ain't judging. I'm saying I know, and I ain't the one to judge.
But deep down, like everybody does know right and wrong deep down, and a lot of times when people are feeling bad and shit, a lot of times they're beating themselves up for some shit that they know they done fucked up. You know what I mean? So remember that. Trust your intuition, cause you know what's right and wrong. Don't try to come up with excuses for shit and try to justify some bullshit, cause you know deep down that's gonna eat at you, motherfucker.
Stay hydrated.
Shit.
Hey, shout out to Waterloo.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm on this raspberry nectarine today. We out here. We ain't on that fructose, high fructose corn syrup. We don't rock with that. Just to let y'all know, we don't be doing that.
Hey, but this Body Armor got some coconut water in it, and Kobe Bryant was fucking with this shit, so I fucks with it.
Limit your fructose corn syrup intake. It's not good for your body.
The high fructose, you can use the low fructose, like from the fruits. That ain't gonna hurt you.
Well, that's natural. That's natural, all natural.
All fruits have fructose.
But that high fructose corn syrup is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, the corn syrup.
The high fructose corn syrup is not really, it's not really good for you.
That shit is garbage.
So, just a shout out. That's just me. You know, we just concerned about the health. Health is wealth.
Health is wealth.
All right. We on to the next topic. Y'all rocking with us? Hey, throw some ones in the chat for one time.
Man, we got to get on something a little less deep because my mind's been, I've been boggling my own mind.
Hey, man, I know we've been over here these crazy topics, but it's just what happens. It's what happens when we talk. It's just the flow of consciousness. One thing streaming to the next, and that's where we end. We don't be trying to necessarily get so deep, but sometimes deep is what comes out, you know?
Yeah. Hey, so I've been watching Instagram.
Okay, what's up?
And man, you remember how Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, like they used to be like hella strong right wing, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then they done switched up lately. You know what I mean? Yeah. A lot of it has to do with the Palestine shit. Like they actually started realizing what's really going on, and they started changing their mind, and so they started turning on them about that, right? Like both sides really, because they're actually speaking on some real shit. But one thing that was crazy that I seen Candace Owens was talking about was she's saying about how like Hollywood, our movies, is actually funded, like a lot of them are funded by the CIA.
Oh yeah, I seen her talk about that.
You seen that?
Yeah, I did, and that's true, man. Like they was talking about Transformers and some of the X-Men's and some of the Black Hawk Downs and the mostly military movies, like the spy movies, Top Gun, anything that got to do with military flying. And you know how they be, like they got a budget where they put aside to make sure that the proper things are displayed in the movie, so that the right message gets out, so that you know that it's accurate enough and they approve of what is being said, right. And
also events. To bring right type of propaganda to try to, you know what I mean?
Oh well, I mean that's what can be said. I don't know about that, but I know that they just want to make sure that a good product comes out, so that you know.
Yeah, the CIA just wants you to be entertained.
They want to make sure that you properly entertained. They don't want you to be out there.
They're not trying to skew your views.
Nah.
To any side of anything.
Never that. Never that.
They're not gonna make the Russians the bad guys and the Muslims the bad guys in all their episodes and their movies, because they want to control your mind. It's more for entertainment purposes, because those are people that are different, and they know that people are likely to side with people who are more like them than not. And they also, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's all about. They do have that budget, and they just want to ensure quality product is out to the viewing
because they want to watch it.
You know, I mean,
they want to be entertained.
I mean, if you gonna represent my industry, make sure you represent it properly. That's all, potentially, you know. Mm-hmm. But that is interesting though, that somebody like Miss Owens would bring something like that up, and. Right. Because notoriously she's been known to be on the other side and not bring up like actual quality points on certain things, but then certain things I didn't heard her talk on, you know, a couple things I'm like, yeah, you know, she do got a point. That is, and it's interesting. There's a lot of people don't know about the budget, and they think that director just had some great. I mean, how you think they get access to those? You know what I'm saying? They get access to the ships and things like that, and they got official. Like and they usually got based on a true story, and they got to change some stuff. And who you think make them change it? Right. You know what I mean? So I mean, it makes sense, but like people don't think that. They
think it's just Zionism trying to control everybody's mind, you know, or something like that. Like trying to take over the world step by step. They think it's some crazy outlandish shit like that.
I mean, well, they used to do the same thing. Like if you watch old movies, or excuse me, if you watch movies about like periodic, what they call them, period pieces, like where they show different time periods. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of the kings and stuff, they used to do that back in the day. Like they would commission plays. Yeah, and they would do the plays, so they would show like the king in the good favor, or like the battle that they won.
They want them to be.
They would recreate the battle,
like Gladiator. That's one of my favorite movies. You like the original Gladiator.
Yeah, but the same way how they had the little play and they showed and then
that's how was like mad about it. He's like, hold on, they making it like I gotta be liked
because
he'd orchestrate his own plays. Like back in the day, the kings make sure that them plays was directed to make them look better. You feel me?
Same thing. So it's like, it's not like unheard of. It's not uncommon. It's just the people to know that people don't think that happens. Yeah. It was like, so it's just, again, sometimes people just like, hey, you know this thing, like, what, for real? Like, are you serious?
Man, all jokes aside, it's all to divide the people so they can control them. That's what it's about.
If we all come together and do things for our mutual benefit. It is always gonna. It's more people is what we're saying. Yeah, we should always do the things that benefit us all for the masses, but we usually don't. Like you saying, we get divided in some kind of way. And all people,
man. One thing I can't do is value one life over another. Like to me, all humans is humans. Mm-hmm. They all going through shit. They all got a brain in their head. And they all witnessing things and trying to make sense of it. That's what people are. You know what I mean? We trying to figure out what's right and wrong and do what's right for ourselves. All humans are on that level, right? Mm-hmm. And one thing that's crazy, they did this way back in the day with religion, trying to divide people by religion, and they still do it to this day. And the crazy part is, like if you look at Muslim and Christian, they are the same religion. The Muslim religion says that Christ was a prophet. Mm-hmm. Christian religion said that it was actually the son. But everything other than that part, they're still teaching his teachings. You feel me? All that is still, they still like basically the same thing, same book, only they done had a different viewpoint of what something meant, a different interpretation of a small part of it. But the law remains the same. Treat others how you want to be treated. That's the golden rule that's found in every single religious book, every single philosophical book, whatever, you know what I mean? Like some of the things like Buddhist and shit.
Philosophical?
Yeah. Philosophical. You feel me?
One of them.
Philosophical books.
The philosophical school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there has been little subtle variations in religions that,
but that's all what they teach. Even like polytheistic ones, that was still the that means multiple gods, right? They thought of multiple gods, but the number one rule was always do unto others as you want done to you.
I mean, that's just basic human nature, obviously.
One of them would interpret it. One of them would say like, do to others by God that you would want others to do by God for you. You know what I mean? That's like bringing the God into it. Others is like treat your brother like you would want your brother to treat your sister or whatever. You know what I mean? All that comes to the same conclusion as treat others how you want to be treated. You know what I mean?
But yes, that's the basic principle, and so that's what you have to do.
It's like the universal law. That's why they call it the golden rule.
Exactly, okay. And if you live by that principle, you're gonna have, I guess, more of a peaceful life, because most people, if you're doing nice things and you want them to be treated like you would treat yourself, you wouldn't do harm to yourself. So then you wouldn't do harm to somebody else. You would hope they do good.
Right. You ain't gonna bring no bad.
So then everything should work out for the most part, and which is good. But like we talked about before, it don't matter how it is. It's going to eventually get to the point to where you got to defend what you have, because somebody ain't going to, somebody's not going to adhere to that rule. They're going to want what you got. And so then you're going to have to defend it. And then depending on what side you on, you looked at the bad guy, and there you go. So that's a good in theory, but we know what happens. So yes, you that's how you live. Do unto others as you had them do unto you until they try to do something bad to you. Then you go ahead and take their head off. That's just how I go. You know what I mean? Then it's, then it's an eye for an eye. Oh, you did what? Okay, cool. So that's the rules of the life. All right.
Yes, sir.
We doing it?
What you thinking? Where we at?
I think we got time for one more. One more?
What's that say? We at 65.
No, I think it's time. It's time to get out. Let's go.
Hold on, let me see what it says.
We out.
Oh yeah, we good.
We good.
Yes, sir.
You
no, if we have 55 minutes, that's a good time.
All right.
What y'all think? Y'all like these
extended ones?
Hey, leave a comment if you watch this till the end, motherfucker. I want to know who watched this shit all the way to the end. You got to say something. Just say, you can even put a check mark in the comments. I want to see who watching this shit.
Yeah, today
all the way to the end.
Today was a very interesting one. I know we kind of went off on a few tangents and we didn't have it as light, but it was just an interesting conversation. Sometimes you just got to get to the meat of things. Shit, man. So yeah, hey, and also if you do have some topics that you would like us to address, hey, always drop us a comment. But with that said, until next time, it's your boy J.Kendall.
It's your boy Eli.
We out.
Peace.